Okay, so there are a couple of different types of seams when you're taping, okay? The first kind of seam is a butt joint. It's where two pieces of sheetrock meet and there's no tapered edge. Like these have a tapered edge right here, okay? These are tapered edges together. So this is a butt seam because it's two half-inch pieces with no tapers. Usually I like to hit all of the butt seams first. I've actually already pre-filled two. That's something I normally like to do is I'll notch out some of the stuff that's sticking up and I'll pre-fill it with some Easy Sand 20, which I can show you in a different video, but these have been pre-filled. So this is a banjo. It's putting mud on the tape. It's coming from the back roll here. I'll show you that a little bit more too, but it pulls through, okay? So I get my length right here, okay? And then there's a cutter on the end, and you can see I'm running out of mud on this. I need to go reload, so I'm gonna go in. This isn't normally how you do this, but I've run out of mud. My banjo, I'll show you how to do that in a second. But you put it on there, okay? Then you grab your tray, which my assistant didn't have for me. Okay? So, what I like to do, I like to wipe that down. You gotta kind of hold it. These little ones are trickier because they wanna slide all over as you're doing it. And then when I push this way, I'm not pushing super hard because I don't want to wipe all of the mud out. But I just want to wipe out a little bit of it. Okay, and then I take some of the extra mud that's there. And then you want to wipe down some of the extra. There you go. That's a butt seam. I'm going to show you how to refill this here, but you can see this is the banjo. There's a little latch right here. You open the latch, open it up. Okay, and then if you look, the back side, this is where the tape comes. The tape rolls in. You open that up, you put your roll of tape in. Okay, and then you latch that shut. Then you run the tape through the back side of the tool right here. It runs right through that groove. Okay, and like I said, then it comes in here, and you can see we're low on mud. So then what we're going to do is we're going to go like this, and you kind of push the mud back up to the top. And I actually am using this pump right now, but if you don't have a pump, you would just hand scoop your mud into here. But I'm using the pump to pump it in there, which is pretty nice and slick. But you don't need this to do it. And again, you can fill it up pretty much all the way there. And then you just latch her shut again. You just clamp it shut like that. Okay. Then it's got a little spot for your hand to go. And then there you want to make sure again that you got mud on the tape as you begin to pull it out. But that'll pull out and it'll put a layer of mud on the back of that tape. So let me show you a taper. This is a taper seam because they taper in. Again, I just go right over the outlets and light switches. In this case, it's a light switch. Okay, you just want to put it onto the center. And I'm using my finger to kind of pinch it down as I go along. And that's kind of the hardest part at the end there. Is there's a lot of pressure there as you pull it, but it does. And again, you can kind of straighten it out as this one was sliding down a little bit on us, but you can see it cut nice to the edge. Okay, then you have your tray of mud ready and handy. And I like to start in the center of the seams and work out. Sometimes you can even use the corner of your trowel or your mud bucket there just to kind of hold it from sliding on these smaller ones. The trickiest thing is as you wipe down, you kind of do a little bit at first like that because you want to lose your mud. And then you're going to lose a little mud. That's kind of normal, especially on the taping or when you're stringing the tape. But if you're and that will take work. So as you get used to it, you'll get better at making it so you don't leave mud everywhere. And then again, I kind of go over it a couple more times, making sure I really wipe down anything on the edges because I don't want to have to sand or anything like that. So you want to keep it nice and wipe down. You know, I'm putting a decent amount of pressure on there. I'm not really steep. I'm kind of flat like this and like that. So, and if you see some holes or something you want to add a little bit of mud in there, you can always do that too. You know, if you want to get a little pre-fill on that nail. And that is a taper seam.
Okay, how do you wipe?
So you just wipe by running your blade over and just pushing the seam in there. You want to wipe it down tight. And then when I do that right there, I'm wiping it down, but I'm trying to not over wipe it because I don't want to wipe all the mud out behind there. I'm just making sure that it's nice and wiped down tight. Sometimes you can add a little bit of mud back over it too, because then it actually will go smoother. But I'm really trying to get the hang of this banjo thing here. Or not the banjo, the bazooka. And I think that was my best one as far as the right length. Didn't screw it up completely. This one got a little short on me because I cut it short, but that'll be fine. It'll be covered with paper corner there. But again, I start in the middle of the seam. Okay, and I'm keeping the blade pretty flat this way. And I'm just kind of working it in first. I'm pulling it one way, and then I'm kind of going this way. Again, the idea is you just want to make sure it's wiped down pretty tight. And I'm putting pretty good pressure on there. You can see that it's wiped down tight. This is a taper, so you're not wiping as tight as the butt seam. Then try to be careful not to get mud everywhere at the very end. But that still happens. So that's the idea right there. And that doesn't hurt to go over it a couple times just to make sure you get it nice and smooth. And again, this does not have to be perfect because you're coming over it again with all the taping boxes. I like to try to keep my box clean as I go. This is the one I'm using to wipe down. Yeah, let's try. I mean, if you can kind of see how it's pretty, there's a good amount of water. I would say I add, if you look at those little mud tray pans over there, see those metal ones over there? I probably added at least one of those mud trays worth of water to that.
What mud tray?
Over there. Maybe not quite, to almost a 5-gallon bucket of mud.
How much water?
Probably one of those mud trays over here. See it?
Yeah.
So maybe not quite that much. But it ends up being, where the mud it pretty much will collapse down on itself right away. Like it shouldn't stand stiff. It should just kind of collapse right away and just fall down, if that makes sense.
What kind of mud do you use?
So this one you use the green. It's the green lid. It's the all-purpose. They call it the all-purpose mud. So this is where that bazooka was handy, honey, right here, because I don't have anything to. I need to figure out a bridge right now. That's why that was really handy. I'm gonna have to learn. Okay, this is kind of a nice one to learn on because it's nice and short. Obviously, the higher it is, then you'd have to set up a little planking system or stilts. In this case, I can reach, so which is kind of nice. And then when you get to that corner, again, that's kind of the trickiest part. Is you gotta pull and you're trying to keep everything steady. That's the part you're gonna mess up the most, probably. I'm using this roller tool. Still trying to figure this out. I had one of these. I used one of these before. That just fell off. Okay. So I'm going to start in the middle. I'm not sure how it's going to roll on this. There's no. I'm not pushing very hard right now. And that's the only downside over a doorway like that is you're going to lose a lot of mud. Maybe that's all I'm going to do right there. Not over roll it. Okay? And you just leave this in a bucket of water. I'm going to try my glazing tool again. Oops. It actually fell off this handle, which I don't love that. Okay, I'm going to try this again. I'm going to try to actually loosen this up even one more. So these things right here adjust the tension that's on these things. I don't know if I can do both or just one. Maybe just one is all I'm going to try. I don't know. I should read the instructions, but when you pull that back, it makes it so there's not as much tension on this. So it theoretically is runs a little smoother. There, that's what I like right there. Maybe I was over rolling it before. That's what we want right there, just like that. This is even kind of a tricky one with this. Let's see if it can. That's what I remember, ladies and gentlemen. So I'm gonna go over it one more time. And I'm gonna have to clean that up with a knife. This one's tricky to learn on because you got a doorway there, so mud falls through there. I think that was the issue though. We had those. You need to pull back that. And then again, with this tool, you still got to come back. You still got to come back and clean up the. Still got to come back and clean up the ends of them. And again, I'm kind of just pushing this way, but I'm not pushing super hard because you don't want to wipe out all the mud that you just put in there. So it's kind of a delicate procedure. Again, you want to make sure you get most of the mud off of there. And then if there is a ridge here, you can wipe that down. There you go. And then at the end here, I'm going to wipe that down a little bit.